Archaea sense starvation through their own cell walls. Imagine your body listening not just to signals, but to molecular scarcity etched into its very structure. These ancient life forms monitor energy intake by tweaking tiny lipid molecules in their membranes. Think of those lipids like a living thermostat, responding instantly when resources thin out across the entire ecosystem. This subtle self-check inside them hints at a universal calibration system. We are examining how this innate biological wisdom, encoded in these membrane dynamics, might mirror the deepest homeostatic tuning within complex neurological states we thought were purely electrical.
These ancient architects of life actually sense resource fluctuations through precise changes in their cell wall lipids, a kind of primal energetic attunement. Instead of just reacting to sudden depletion, we are looking at how this mechanism encodes an organism's steady state relative to its needed energy input thresholds. Think of it like the slow calibration of a complex antique clock based on minute shifts in atmospheric pressure over weeks. This internal surveillance system suggests that even fundamental biological integrity relies on subtle feedback loops governing resource availability itself. It points towards something deeper than just simple survival instincts within these extremophiles. What if that internal calibration mechanism isn't just ancient survival? Imagine lipidomics, the study of these tiny molecules, acting as a direct proxy for an organism's inherent state of coherence itself. It suggests resource scarcity registers not merely as danger, but as a profound informational signature within its membrane structure. This is where we move past mere reaction towards something resembling innate biological wisdom. We are beginning to connect that basic archaeal feedback loop to the complex systems regulating our own sustained neurological balance, which means something nobody expected for understanding self-regulation in higher life forms. The next level reveals how this principle might define deep systemic health, and you absolutely need to see it. So what if that self-organization principle isn't just an ancient trick? What if those lipid dynamics mirror fundamental processes in our own brain, something related to how we maintain coherence even when resources are tight? Consider a city grid during a drought. Every small change in flow ripples through the whole system. That's analogous here. Researchers like Dr. Chen suggest these archaeal feedback loops provide an analog for non-pathological calibration across complex mammalian states. But others insist that purely structural mechanics cannot account for higher intelligence at all, arguing pure energy state governs everything. The deeper we look into how memory itself is sustained by membrane flow, that's the real system boundary issue staring us down next.
The membrane structures these ancient forms use, that process we saw earlier, they aren't just tracking scarcity. They are actively modulating their own architecture based on that input, building complex feedback loops internally. Think of an entire forest ecosystem responding not when a single tree falls, but as the collective shadow shifts across it. This suggests endogenous cellular surveillance goes far beyond simple survival checks. It's encoded self-knowledge within the lipid flow itself. Now we meet the core challenge: how to map that deep structural awareness onto our own messy, higher brain chemistry. That gap is where everything pivots forward.
But what if that inherent cellular knowing, encoded in those fundamental lipid shifts, isn't just an ancient blueprint? What if this very pattern of resource signaling holds a key not just to survival, but to sustained coherence within our own higher architecture? Think of it like the deep resonance felt when every element in a complex machine is precisely tuned against its necessary friction. We are looking at conceptual modeling, linking those basic archaeal dynamics directly as an analog for intrinsic, non-pathological calibration inside mammalian systems. That suggests that perhaps what we call mental equilibrium isn't just electrical. Maybe it's fundamentally built on this slow, structural wisdom of resource pacing itself.
The inherent wisdom of these ancient forms, that subtle calibration against scarcity we followed through, offers us a genuine way out of certain neurophysiological dead ends. We aren't just observing survival, we are seeing an architecture for sustained coherence across fluctuating input states. Think of it like the structural integrity holding up a bridge during extreme weather events.
It's not about momentary strength, but deep internal self-knowledge coded into every piece. This points us towards somatic experiencing and deep ecology bioinformaticians alike. The ultimate takeaway is this: look for resource pacing in your own systemic balance, because that slow architecture dictates the deepest level of equilibrium you possess. The full research archive is at jmthomasofficial.com. We move now beyond mere structure and into the realm of intrinsic knowing. Imagine a tuning fork that doesn't need external striking. Its resonance is dictated entirely by how much energy it has internally stored for survival. That principle, derived from observing archaeal lipid flow under duress, suggests our own sense of well-being isn't an input or output. It is the architecture itself, a persistent state calibration against environmental truth. Consider a grandfather clock running perfectly even when its gears are barely meshing. That deep internal rhythm defines coherence far more than any momentary tick. The full research archive guiding this shift towards systemic resonance is at jmthomasofficial.com.